Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first Infomatix live stream. Thank you so much for jumping on. I can see everybody in the chat. So we've got John here, we've got Lord Redzale, we've got David, we've got Umesh, we've got Liverpool, Crypto Follower. Everyone, thank you so much for joining on. So the purpose of the live stream today was to announce some really cool things that we've got going on with the IDO. We've got a date, we've got launch pads, everything that we've been working on has really come to a head and is all come together. But we've also got 30,000 new members in Telegram and Twitter since we did the last live stream like this. So what we wanted to do today was just to run you through a little bit about who we are and what we do, and just put a bit of an overview together for you. And then we can get stuck into the big announcements. So look, first of all, Infomatix, I know a lot of you are very across what we're doing and some of you aren't. But to understand what Infomatix is, who we are, and what we're trying to do, I think it's best to start with Gnosis. So Gnosis was our first business. You can find out more about Gnosis by visiting gnosis.io. Gnosis is a data visualization tool. So what the problem we were trying to solve was, I had a crypto portfolio, a stock portfolio, real estate, some precious metals, some artworks, and a couple of different investments that took me a few hours to figure out what they were worth, and there was no real P&L document that I could find except for what my account gave me once a year. So the problem we were trying to solve with Gnosis was really that centralization piece for investors, so that they can get a better overview of their portfolio and make better decisions. So as we set out to build Gnosis, we found that stock data, crypto data, interest rates, currencies, everything like that was quite easy to find. It was all very straightforward for us. There was no major problems there. But the alternative asset data, so things like Yeezys, Pokemon cards, artworks, jewelry, everything like that, there was really no option. But the problem was, these are legitimate investments that a lot of people have invested a lot of money into, and they want to be able to track them with their portfolio. So we tried a few things. We tried scraping data. We tried, pulling data from different wholesalers, and a few things that just didn't work. And we realized that we needed to put together a more comprehensive framework and a completely new product that was responsible for collecting all of this data. And so that's really what, that's where Infomatix came from. And from there, we've put together a pretty comprehensive crowdsourced data collection tool that allows users who want to know the value of something to connect with the experts that have that knowledge. And that's a link that's been missing in the space up until now. So, real estate agents know what all the houses on their street are valued at, but there's no real outlet for them to monetize that knowledge. So what Infomatix does, it gives that framework for people with knowledge like that to be able to contribute it and share it, so that everyone else can benefit from it. And it's not just real estate; it's the sneaker collectors, it's the artists, it's everyone who's, I guess, like us, invested in alternate assets and just wants them to be able to visualize them with the rest of their portfolio. So obviously there's a crypto component to the Infomatix platform, and I think, as you can probably see from where we've come from, we never really set out to build a crypto product. This was just the next logical step. And the way the token fits into our ecosystem is that it's the I guess native token for the platform that facilitates all of the transactions between the platform itself and the contributors. So the real estate agents and the art valuers who are providing information are going to be paid in info tokens. The admins who help support the network will be paid in info tokens. And once Infomatix is mature, we'll be able to receive payments in info tokens. So we'll close that loop there. Now the token itself has taken on a bit of a life of its own with the crypto community. So we've closed our pre-sale. We had a successful raise through Bitcoin TAF, Small Cap, Big Gains, and Aura Ride as well. And now we're coming up to our IDO, which is what we really wanted to talk to everybody about. So everything has been ticking away on our side for the last little while as we get everything ready for the IDO. And we've finally locked in a date. So we're working with Zero Swap, we'll be doing a ZDO through Zero Swap, and also deck sale. And there's a couple of others that we're in contact with that may end up going ahead as well, but we'll announce those later on. But they will all go live on November the 2nd. So just over 3 weeks from now, we'll be having our IDO. That's a fixed date that won't move. Everything's ready on our side. And as soon as that IDO is complete, we'll be immediately listed on PancakeSwap. And then over the next week or so, we'll list on all of the major BSC BSC decentralized exchanges. Sorry. So that's the big announcement that we wanted to let you know. The date has been set. We're going ahead on the 2nd of November. So for everyone who had questions about the IDO and when we were going live, the 2nd of November is the date. And we do have some updates on the contract itself. So we'll put together a Medium article just to go over a couple of the changes that we've made with the contract. But anyone who's received the original info tokens, there's nothing you have to do. Everything will be taken care of. You'll receive the updated token supply to the correct proportion of the total supply in your wallet at TGE. But again, we'll give you some more details on that. So that's the announcement that we wanted to come here and make. We've been working towards that for quite a little while. And the rest of this live stream, I think we really want to use for questions. So I know in Telegram there are questions that come through all day, every day. And it's very difficult to get back to everybody. I feel terrible that I can't answer everyone and everything. So what I'd love to do is open up the chat. We've got a YouTube chat here, and we've also got the Telegram community here as well at the moment. So any questions you guys have got, let's get them out now, and we can go through them all together. Okay, so where have we got our questions here? Okay, perfect. Oh, perfect. So we've got an awesome question here from David. So David's asked how we're going to assure and measure the accuracy of the data provided. So what we're going to do is we've got a mechanism in place where a request comes through. Originally, the request will come through Gnosis. The request will then be put through the Infomatix platform and handed to someone who we deem as qualified to answer. So let's use the real estate agent as an example. If you've applied to be a responder on Infomatix, we're going to put you through a vetting process. And that'll entail, things like credential checks. We'll make sure you're on LinkedIn. We'll make sure that you have the relevant qualifications. And then if you do, we'll allow you to answer the questions. And so once a real estate agent has valued a property, for example, that valuation is then turned over to a verifier. The verifier's job is to make sure that the valuation is true and accurate and the valuation makes sense. And then it's passed back through to the user of Gnosis, and it's had those two checks. Once the user receives that information, they're going to be able to see who valued it and who verified it. And they're both going to be completely qualified. But of course, with any system like this, there's always a small room for error. That's something that we're prepared for, and we're going to adjust for as we move forward. But we think that vetting the responders very, very carefully and having that second piece of the verification, which is a completely separate person who's going to cast their eyes over this, will sort of eliminate as much inaccuracy as possible. But there's a lot more information on that in the white paper for everyone as well. So awesome question. Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, so we've got a question here from Crypto Main. I've also just got to throw out a big shout out to Crypto Main. He's been an extremely active member in the community since we started. And he's asked which country we're going to focus most of our attention on. So Infomatix is a global product. It's going to be applicable to everybody everywhere. There's no real specific country that will benefit more or less from Infomatix. But right at the beginning, while we're starting to build the database, we're focusing on a couple of key areas to start with. So the key areas are luxury sneakers, collectible Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, things like that, and real estate. And so with things like Pokemon cards and sneakers and things like that, it doesn't matter what location you're in. With real estate, it definitely does. So we're going to be focusing on Australia, the United States, and the United Kingdom to start with, just to really prove out the concept of the real estate component of this. But of course, you'll be able to do this globally. But that's just where we're going to focus the initial effort. And I think one of the reasons we've chosen real estate is because there's so many investors who really pride themselves on their real estate portfolio that really have no way to sort of track the live value of their investment in real time. One of the pitfalls with real estate investment is if a property doesn't sell, there's no public valuation for it. And so allowing the informatics infrastructure to deal with that and address that need for real estate investors, I think will make a really big difference. It'll put extra effort there at the beginning. So awesome question. Let me have a look here. What have we got next? A lot of familiar names here in the chat. I love seeing all these questions come up here. Yeah, so we've got a question here from the famous Bill Nolan, luxury watches. Yeah, so this is exactly what the product's for. So with luxury watches, for example, is very similar to the sneakers and the collectible cards. What we're able to do is to generate something like a spreadsheet that basically has all of the known luxury watch models. And then beside that, we will have a couple of blank fields for valuation, date, and reason for the valuation, and some citations and justifications. And what contributors to the informatics ecosystem will be able to do is to come on, verify themselves. We'll make sure they're qualified to value watches in this particular example. And then they'll be able to go through, find the models that they know the values of, provide that valuation and the justification of how they came to that valuation. And then we'll be able to get that over to some verifiers, make sure that all makes sense, it's true, it's accurate, it's backed up by justifications. And then we'll add that to our database. So great question. We've got some more questions here in the chat. Let me have a look here. There's so many. Perfect. So is your platform suitable for crypto beginners, or does it only appeal to professional users? So that's from Shanaka. Yeah, so the platform, as if you're a recipient of the informatics data, it's applicable to everybody. I mean, some people have Beanie Baby collections they want to know the value of. Some people have got some gold and silver coins from the Roman era, and they want to find valuations on those. The end product of informatics really for everybody. But if you want to be a contributor, you're going to have some qualification in an area that's relevant to what we're trying to do. So perhaps you've got an art history degree and you've got a great eye for detecting motifs and telling fakes from real paintings. There's absolutely going to be a great second income stream for you through informatics. And again, the jewelers, the luxury sneaker salesmen, the real estate agents, all of these type of people will benefit from contributing information. But the end product is really for everybody. So that's a great question. What have we got here? So we've got Akiboy with a question. I think Bloomberg is your major competitor. What are your plans to survive in this competition? So look, Bloomberg is probably our closest competitor. But even Bloomberg is really not addressing the alternate asset data. I think because there's so much attention and focus and energy invested into the stock market, for example, in the crypto market, it makes sense to build a business the way Bloomberg has to really make sure that they've got that particular sphere locked down. But with all the smaller niche groups of people, like the collectible rifle clubs, the Pokemon cards, all of these types of things. They're so small and so difficult to serve that people like Bloomberg up until now haven't, and nobody else really has either. So our aim is to innovate as fast as possible and to build as comprehensive a database as possible. And then I think we won't be necessarily competing directly with Bloomberg. We'll have a complementary offering. So we're never going to be able to offer hundredth of a second price updates on the options flow of the S&P 500, for example. And we don't plan to do that. So there's always going to be that need for what Bloomberg brings. But I think what we're bringing is something similar to what the relationship between Canva and Photoshop. Photoshop have an ultra complex product that's great for a lot of people, but Canva really do 80% of what Photoshop does. It's much easier to use and it's much more approachable. And I think that's where we'll fit. Rather than directly competing with Bloomberg, I think we'll exist alongside them. So thank you for that question. We've got a great question here from Crypto D. Why should I invest in your token? Do you guarantee I will be profitable? So we can't guarantee anything, but what I can say is I'll be investing in the token through the IDO, through the launch. This is the project I believe the most in. We've got an outstanding team building out this infrastructure. We've got a very, very interesting project that has almost no competition, which is what I think is the most exciting part. And there's been overwhelming response from everyone we've spoken to about the product, and there's a lot of people waiting for the IDO that is coming up. But again, we've got to have our big boy pants on. This is a very new space. We intend to make a spectacular return on this token, but we can't guarantee anything. I'm sorry, Crypto D. Okay, what other questions do we have here, guys? Oh, fantastic. We've got a great question here from someone who's got some interesting font on their name. I think it's Sanjan. Let me just pop back here. So marketing is the leading factor that helps projects thrive. So what is your strategy to attract customers and developers to your project in the long term? So anyone who's a part of our Telegram community will understand that our fun little Infomatix Telegram community has turned into a massive marketing machine. And our shilling contests have really been one of the biggest strengths of what we've been able to do. I mean, you guys are absolutely fantastic. For anyone who's tuned in from the Telegram community, what we've been able to do is just absolutely fantastic. So we really appreciate all your help there. But on top of the great work that the community is doing, helping people find out about the project, we're also working with 5 or 6 YouTubers that will help raise awareness about the project as we lead up to the IDO. We'll have more information on who they are shortly, but we're negotiating deals at the moment. And then we'll also have content being distributed online in a massive way right around that IDO and listing period. So a couple of months ago, we had the Infomatix meme contest on Twitter, and that gave us a massive amount of content that we're now able to use. So again, to the community, we can't thank you enough for all of your help and everything you've done to help this project thrive. And so as we lead up to the IDO, we'll have a team of freelancers assisted by the community as well, making sure that content is everywhere. It's on Reddit, it's on Twitter, it's on YouTube comments. There'll be a short period of time where you won't be able to go anywhere crypto related without finding out about Infomatix. So marketing is something we take very seriously, and we've been planning very carefully. And it's another reason why we've chosen the 2nd of November. We could have launched sooner, but we wouldn't have been able to do as much in the way of marketing as we would have liked to. So to give us that time to negotiate those relationships and make sure all of our ducks are in a row before we launch, the 2nd of November was a good, safe date that we could have all of that ready by. So thank you for that question. Lord B, I want to ask if the Infomatix coin is good for long-term hold, sir. Again, can't give financial advice, but I'm not planning on selling any of my tokens. In fact, I'll be adding through the IDO and then through the exchange, and I'll certainly be holding them long term. So, yeah. So we've got a question here from Crypto Follower. Why did you make events for share info to the community before the IDO? So I think that's talking about why we've been using the community to share all of the information about the project with sort of the broader crypto space. And I think that's because the community that we've built has just been so supportive, and they're so across the project. I mean, a lot of a lot of you in the community know more about the project than some of the people actually working on the project. And so to have such well-educated people going out there and sharing the message has been one of the strongest points of our marketing campaign so far. It's really you can't buy that type of education. You can't really do better than that. So the informatics community reaching out to YouTube influencers and to Twitter accounts on our behalf has just been a massive help, and we'll continue to do that as we get closer to the IDO. So guys, we've got time for one or two more questions. So get them in the chat. We'll pick one or two more, and then we'll have to close this off and keep working on getting this IDO out. Okay, so we've got a question here from Danu. So he says, your project has a very interesting name. Is there any story behind it? Can you share with the inspiration for approaching this name? So we set out over a year ago to build Gnosis, which is that core data visualization tool that everything else really revolves around. And when we went to register the name of the business, we tried to register the name Gnosis, which was a name I was very fixed on, and we couldn't get the name Gnosis. In Australia, there was already another business registered under the name Gnosis. So my business partner Tamer, who's also on the chat here tonight, came up with the idea of calling it Gnosis Informatics. And informatics means the storage and retrieval of data, which couldn't be more appropriate. But at that time, there was really no plan to build informatics. We just assumed that we'll be able to buy all of the data for alternate assets, and we hadn't really addressed that. We hadn't really come across that problem yet. And so we started building Gnosis, and we started buying data, and we started getting a semi-mature product, but we couldn't find any of this alternate asset data. And again, that's what led to the creation of the Infomatix project. And funnily enough, the business was already called Gnosis Infomatix, and so it seemed like it was meant to be. And then we sort of bifurcated the business into the two main projects. So there's Gnosis, which is really that front end, broadly applicable, everyone's going to love it product, and then there's Infomatix, which is that really specific niche product that's going to serve all of the smaller communities that are currently not being tended to. So the name actually came before the business, is the short answer to the question. Okay, and we've got one last question here. So let me read. I would make sure we get a good one. So I think this is a great way to end. So how can users stay up to date with this project? Other channels, including communities, that we can get the latest updates. So look, Telegram is a great, fun place. Lots of competitions there, lots of shilling going on, lots of fun. But I think the absolute best place for anyone to go who wants to understand more about the project and keep up to date with what's going on is our Medium page. So the Medium page has been really designed for investors of the project who want to know exactly what's going on, and they want those details. So with Twitter, it's a lot of fun. Telegram, a lot of fun. Medium is where you're going to find that real crucial information on the specifics of how the project works, what we're trying to do, what we're up to. We have a business update that goes out every week or fortnight. And we also have information on the specifics of how we're going to launch. So there are articles written that will explain how we're going to go through our IDO process, how to participate, how to stake, how to decide between zero swap or deck sale, and those will all be published shortly. So everyone, jump on Medium. Please follow the page. That'll definitely give you the best updates. We'll keep doing these YouTube lives so that we can get through all of your questions. I think it's great to do it once a week or once a fortnight, because it's just very, very sad when you see the questions coming in the chat and we don't have time to answer. So it's great to clear a few of those things up. And thank you everyone for coming on. I really appreciate it. We've got a lot of things to do between now and the 2nd of November. We'll keep you up to date on all of those things, and we'll have a wonderful launch on the 2nd and start trading late on the 2nd or early on the 3rd. So thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate your time, and any more questions, we'll be on the chat for the next few hours. Thank you. Bye.